Hello, I'm Laura Weissman, licensed marriage and family therapist in Newport Beach in California and founder of Psyched About Love. And today I am super psyched to have with me Ranka Joyce from Perth, Australia. Ranka is a member of the Australian Counselors Association. She's a certified Imago couples therapist, yay Imago, a certified Gottman educator for the Bringing Baby Home program, focus and premarital education facilitator, and an accredited parent effectiveness training facilitator. Wow, that is a lot of training, and I am completely psyched to have you here with us today. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be a part of this project.
Wonderful, my pleasure. So there are so many things that we could talk about, obviously from premarital relationships all the way to family and children. But today we're going to focus on one of the things that you had brought up, and it's a very specific dynamic that arises in a relationship known as the minimizer-maximizer pattern. And I've also heard it called pursuer-distancer. I've also heard it called tortoise and hailstorm, but all pretty much leading the same thing. And so can you tell us how this dynamic plays out when a couple is in conflict?
When we feel under threat and when we feel disconnected from our partner, alone, our heartbeat goes up. So anytime you get your heartbeat above 100 beats a minute, one of us will start withdrawing, will constrict his energy or her energy, and we want to hide, we want to think about things. What's happening? And the other partner will start reaching out. Are you there for me? Can you please tell me? Can you hear me? And as that partner doesn't get heard, the partner kind of, the energy ramps up, and actually the partner starts repeating herself or himself, and starts getting louder. Our thinking abilities decrease, our problem solving decreases, our mind becomes foggy. And
right.
Because our mind is foggy, we don't know that our mind is foggy.
Right. We don't know that our brain has gone offline except for that reptilian brain. Okay. So let me see if I got you. The minimizer is the one who, when feeling kind of threatened in conflict in the relationship, begins to shut down a little, goes inside, tries to figure out what's going down, but gets very withdrawn. And the maximizer, feeling her partner going offline, I use her because oftentimes it's the female who's the maximizer, does everything in her bag of tricks to get him to come back online with her. Did I get that?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So what tends to happen, so if you imagine it, like one goes, are you there for me? Please let me in. And when this happens, the other partner just does this.
Yeah.
And we also call it, sometimes it's called the hailstorm, or a crocodile and a turtle. And sometimes what happens, this turtle has nowhere to go, and this turtle just snaps back. And we call it a snapping turtle.
Right.
We are really behave in habitual ways.
So if that were the case, then suddenly the tortoise, the turtle who's pulling inward, becomes in a way the maximizer. Yes, when they reach out and they go on the offensive, would that be kind of a switching of roles?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're not even aware that that's happening.
We're not even aware of it, right? And so does that happen with all couples? This mixed pattern of minimizer, maximizer, like, and do we maintain those roles or do we switch them up sometimes?
It happens to everybody, that our mind becomes foggy. Some of us, we do also switch roles, but we are looking for kind of the majority of the time. Are you more a person who, when something you feel something's going on for you, are you a person who's more likely to say, even when you're alone, do you know what just happened? Do you reach out? Or are you a person, and we're talking about in general,
Correct.
sometimes even the maximizer will withdraw, but we're looking for most of the time.
Right.
What is that you?
So in general, in general, we tend to be either a minimizer or maximizer. So maximizer. So what happens with my partner? As I said, don't want to stereotype too much, but we really are very connection, nurturing oriented. And so when the object of our affection and our relationship goes away, we're really doing everything. You know, the ones who call a friend and say, do you know what happened? Because we're reaching out. And in our very reaching out, sometimes it really kind of freaks our partner out. Okay, so question is, let's say I become the snapping, or partner becomes the snapping turtle. I'm maximizer, right? But I've pushed his little turtle head back so far that he snaps. What happens when the roles are shifted? What happens generally to a maximizer who suddenly finds themselves confronted with another maximizer?
Well, I mean, let me just maybe answer your first question, and maybe that is going to answer as well. And that is, your second question is that, do we all behave this way? 80% of couples are in this pursuer and withdrawer. 20% will be two tortoises will be attracted to each other, and then what happens in conflict, they will just go, shh, hope this goes away. Or you have two maximizers, and it kind of gives us a very hot and very scary place to be.
Yeah.
So that, however, even when you have two maximizers, one will shift its position. So if you find, so what you are really talking about is when a maximizer, or somebody who reaches out, meets the other, will be scared, will be a dangerous place, right, and will start growing.
Right. So yeah, it does. And it does answer the question, because the roles do in fact get switched a little bit when one is normally the maximizer, but then is met with a maximizer. It can either escalate and get very conflictual, or it causes the initial maximizer to withdraw in fear, in that other reptilian place of freeze or flight. Okay. And so it happens to everybody. But does it happen as much to couples in the romance stage?
Not really.
Okay, so while they're in the honeymoon stage, what's going on that it's not playing out like that?
Yeah. Well, when we are in that honeymoon phase, we are so open to our partner. We are available. We meet somebody. In fact, our brain gets bombarded with these incredible chemicals, and we just see our partner as somebody who is so lovely. And even when that partner is a bit withdrawn, we think, oh, he's so kind of mysterious, and there is something lovely about him just being able to hold whatever he needs to hold. And I'm saying he,
Right.
I'm generally here. And so, and we don't even notice the differences. And in fact, our differences enrich us. We become bigger as a result, and we're kind of in an altered state. Sadly, this doesn't happen. And if it happens that one withdraws and one will pursue, the partner is more likely to say, darling, what's happening?
Right? So there's more of a trust, because our brain is flooded with all of these connection chemicals. And so we perceive our partner as safer, and we can trust, and we can come to the relationship more vulnerably. And we tell ourselves different stories. So the story we tell ourselves about it changes. So initially, he's dark, he's mysterious, he's interesting. And then when we enter the power struggle, but you're not filling my needs, you're not available for me. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense too. It's a different stage. So now the big question of the day is, okay, we're in the middle of this different stage, this power struggle. And the story we're telling ourselves about it is completely different than, you know, oh, he's so mysterious and wonderful. What do we do about it? What do we do about it?
Well, first of all is we need to identify. And Dr. Stephen Stosny says a lovely thing. He says that it's not me doing it to you. It's not you doing it to me. It's happening to us at the same time.
It's beautiful.
It is we see our partner as an enemy, as the enemy, the source of our comfort and
the source of our pain.
As it becomes the source of our pain.
Yeah.
Number one, we need to identify it, because this pattern literally flourishes in the dark and perishes in the light. And if we put the spotlight on it, you go, oh, just noticed. I needed you, but I started yelling at you. I wanted to get some attention. And actually, you need to be able to see yourself through your partner's eyes, because you should never trust your own perspective to give you an accurate view of the relationship.
Right. So you need to really have that authentic curiosity to hear from your partner what their perspective is, what their perception is.
Yeah, and there is nothing to lose in this. And what we tend to do is we start protecting, and we start trying to talk our partner into seeing our view. So really, and nobody likes to listen. Honestly, I have never caught myself wanting to listen to my husband when he tells me something. I think it's crazy.
Different than you want to hear, right?
But I know that this relationship is important to me, and surely he has something to say. And the moment I stop, I slow down, and I regulate myself, I can then be present to my husband.
Beautiful. So
but it doesn't feel, it is counterintuitive. What we fear the most is really what we need to hear the most.
Right. Because what is intuitive, what is instinctual, is the fight, flight, or freeze response, whether you're the maximizer or whether you're the minimizer. But what that gives you, what that creates in your relationship, is disconnection. And what both really want, both sides of the pattern, is connection. And so what I hear you say is that each one is responsible for regulating themselves, for bringing those frontal lobes back online, for observing that pattern in themselves and having an authentic curiosity to ask their partner, okay, so what's going on here for you?
Yeah. You're absolutely right, Laura. Number one is trying to regulate your own feeling, because anytime we want to kind of calm down by trying to regulate our partner will perceive us as controlling.
Right. It doesn't work so well. That's the bottom line. It doesn't work so well.
I can tell you, it doesn't work.
Right.
But
so those steps do work. Taking ownership of your own stuff, taking ownership of your own self-regulation, taking ownership of awareness of the dynamic, identifying who you are. Are you the minimizer? Are you the maximizer? And coming to your partner with an authentic curiosity and sitting down together and making it your plural issue and not the singular issue of either one. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Okay, it has been a wonderful, more than just 3 minutes, but I think every minute was worth it. So I thank you very much for being my guest today, and I look forward to staying in touch.
Absolutely. Bye. Thank you, Laura. Bye-bye.
Pleasure.